What if I told you that there's a single secret teaching hidden in an ancient text that reveals the true nature of divine power, and that almost no one understands it? A teaching so powerful that it's been kept hidden for millennia, passed on only among initiates, and that can completely transform the way you see yourself, reality, and your place in the universe. This teaching is found in the Emerald Tablet, one of the shortest and most mysterious texts in history, but also one of the most impactful. And the most surprising part, it's not about something outside of you. It reveals something within you, just waiting to be activated. The true key to awakening your inner power isn't in temples or religions or complicated theories. It's in your consciousness. If you watch until the end, you'll understand how this knowledge was hidden in plain sight, and why it might be the missing piece for you to finally take control of your own reality. From this moment on, everything you once believed to be impossible will start to make sense. He rises from the earth to the sky and descends again to the earth, and receives the power of things above and below. The first thing you need to know about the Emerald Tablet is that it's not a book or a long scroll full of theories. The tablet is small, direct, enigmatic. It's just a few lines, written in a symbolic, almost poetic way. But those lines carry a knowledge that can completely change the way you see the world, your body, your mind, and what you believe to be yourself. Why is it called secret or hidden? But why has such a short text with such cryptic words been called for centuries secret, hidden, or hermetic? Why is the Emerald Tablet surrounded by so much mystery? The answer lies in the way it was written. The tablet doesn't speak directly. It doesn't deliver information like a regular manual. It speaks in codes, symbols, metaphors, and more than that, it can only be understood by those willing to see beyond the words. It doesn't just require reading, but presence, inner listening, connection with something more subtle. This type of language is called initiatic. That means its content was made to awaken something in those who truly seek, in those who feel that life has more layers than what's shown. The tablet isn't a text to memorize or repeat by heart. It's a portal, a code, a mirror that only reflects the truth to those who are ready to see it. Maybe you've heard the phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. The same happens with the tablet. Its words aren't meant to impress, but to activate a kind of understanding that doesn't come from ordinary logic, but from a deeper intelligence that exists within you. That part of you that's always known the world isn't just what the eyes can see. That's why throughout history, only a few have been able to decipher what it truly teaches. Not because others lacked the ability, but because most people read in a rush, distracted, wanting ready-made answers. The tablet doesn't respond with formulas. It responds with insights. Each of its lines is like a key that only turns when read with an open heart, a present mind, and the humility of someone ready to question everything they've ever believed. To those who aren't in that state of sincere seeking, it just seems like a mysterious text. But to those who read with true attention, it begins to reveal universal laws, principles that explain the hidden workings of reality, the nature of energy, the origin of creation, the power of the mind, and the role of the human being as a co-creator of the universe. And here's the most important point of all. What the tablet reveals, between the lines, is something that changes everything. Something so powerful that it has been hidden, distorted, and even ridiculed throughout history. Because if people truly understood it, the world as we know it today simply wouldn't work the same way anymore. The revelation is this: divine power is inside you, and the external reality responds to the vibration you emit. Pause for a moment and feel the weight of that statement. It means you're not a victim of reality, but an active participant. You are creating your experience from what you feel, think, believe, desire, and fear. Every repeated thought, every emotion you feed, every belief you carry vibrates, and that vibration creates patterns, and those patterns shape what you attract, what you perceive, what shows up around you. If you keep telling yourself that the world is hard, that you're never lucky, that nothing works out, guess what? That's the vibration you're putting out, and that's exactly the kind of experience you're likely to attract. Not because the universe is cruel, but because it's precise. It mirrors your energy exactly. It's like a quantum mirror. It doesn't judge, it just reflects. Now think of the opposite. When you're at peace, when you truly believe in something, when you're grateful from the heart, when you feel free and whole, notice how the world around you shifts. People treat you differently, opportunities show up, synchronicity happens. That's not magic in the fantasy sense. That's the real functioning of consciousness interacting with matter. To make this clearer, I'll share a short story with you. In a distant land, there was a village surrounded by mountains and forests. At the heart of that village was an ancient legend. It was said that somewhere, hidden among the hills, there was an invisible temple. A temple that could only be found by someone who was truly ready. It was said that inside this temple was a magical mirror. A mirror that didn't show your face, but showed your soul. Whoever looked at it sincerely would discover the secret of the universe. A secret that would grant access to divine power. For generations, many went in search of this temple. Great warriors, scholars, kings, and merchants tried to find it. They climbed mountains, faced storms, deciphered old maps, but all came back empty-handed. They said, "There's no temple, it's just a myth." Over time, the villagers stopped believing. The story faded away, treated like a childish fable, something grandparents told kids at bedtime. But there was one young man who, unlike the others, felt something strange every time he heard that legend. It was like something inside him remembered, a kind of nameless longing. He wasn't strong like the warriors or wise like the scholars, but he had something the others didn't, a genuine desire to understand himself. One morning, he decided to go in search of the temple, but unlike the others, he didn't take weapons, maps, or preset questions. He only took silence. As he walked, he didn't look for signs in the sky or footprints on the ground. He looked within. During the journey, he often sat to listen to the birds, talk to the wind, observe his own thoughts. Instead of forcing, he allowed himself to feel. At a certain moment, after days of walking, he felt a calling. He stopped, looked around, and then he saw. There before him, an invisible portal opened. It wasn't made of stone or gold. It was made of perception, and he stepped in. Inside the temple, there was no altar, no statues, just a mirror. He walked up to it. When he looked, he didn't see his face. He saw his memories. He saw his fears. He saw his beliefs. He saw everything he thought he was. And at the same time, he saw that none of it was who he truly was. The mirror didn't reveal ready-made truths. It showed what was hidden, but had always been there. And then, in a split second, he understood. The temple was never outside. The mirror was his consciousness, and the divine power he'd been searching for had always been inside him. In that moment, he didn't gain superpowers. He didn't float or glow, but something changed. The world around him was still the same, but he wasn't. Now he knew, and with that knowing, life would never be the same. This story, simple at first glance, carries within it the essence of the Emerald Tablet, because the real secret teaching isn't in the words of the text, but in what happens inside the one who reads it with presence. The key is in recognizing that you are the temple, that consciousness is the mirror, and that the secrets so many have searched for outside can only be found when you turn inward. That's why this knowledge is called occult, because it was never hidden from the world, it was only hidden from the distracted mind. But for those who listen with the heart, it's always been saying, you are not who they told you you are. You are so much more, and it's time to remember. What is actually written on the Emerald Tablet? Do you remember the story of the invisible temple? The one that could only be seen by those who were ready to look within? Yeah, the Emerald Tablet works exactly like that. Now that you understand, it doesn't speak to the ordinary mind, but to awaken consciousness, it's time to dive into what it actually says. This might be the most important moment so far, because we're going to look directly at the original excerpts from the tablet. Real phrases, preserved for centuries, that still echo with the same power, for those who know how to listen. But pay attention. These words aren't meant to be memorized. They're meant to be lived. Every line has the potential to open up a new way of seeing who you are, how the universe works, and the power you carry inside you. Let's go together. What is below is like what is above, and what is above is like what is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. This is the foundation of all Hermetic philosophy, and even though it's been repeated for thousands of years, it's still often misunderstood. What it's saying is that there's a perfect correspondence between the higher planes, like the spiritual, mental, energetic, and the lower planes, like the physical, emotional, material. In other words, the universe is a layered reflection and everything is connected. Let's break this down in a practical way. You know when your mind is all over the place, filled with negative thoughts, and suddenly everything around you starts going wrong? Things get delayed, conflicts pop up, your body gets sick, your energy feels heavy. That's not a coincidence. It's just the outer expression of your inner vibration. What the tablet is revealing is that you don't live in a world separate from your mind and emotions. The universe responds to what you vibrate. So when you change internally, the world around you inevitably starts to change too. That's the one thing that creates miracles, the creative consciousness that exists within you. Now, check out this next passage. The sun is its father, the moon its mother, the wind has carried it in its belly, the earth is its nurse. That might sound poetic at first, but it's actually talking about the structure of your very existence. The sun represents the active force, pure consciousness, the divine spark. It's light, the drive to create, clarity. The moon represents receptivity, the unconscious, the feminine, emotions, sensitivity. The wind is spirit, the vital breath that moves you, the force that gives life to things. And the earth is where it all takes shape. It's the body, matter, the base, where consciousness expresses itself. What does that mean? That you're not just a body walking through the world trying to survive. You're the result of a perfect balance between universal forces. You carry the sun and the moon inside you. You carry the wind of spirit and the grounding of earth. When these forces are out of balance, you feel it. Anxiety, fatigue, confusion, physical imbalances. But when you learn to harmonize them, everything starts to align. And then comes another key. Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the dense, gently and with great skill. Here, the tablet is saying, learn to discern. Develop the ability to see what comes from the soul and what comes from the conditioned mind. What is truth and what is illusion? What is essence and what is just noise? Think about how many times you've made decisions based on urgency, fear, or impulse, and later regretted it. That happens because we're so used to reacting automatically that we forget to look deeper. The fire here represents impulse, energy, desire. The earth represents structure, the concrete, the physical. The subtle is spirit, the invisible. The dense is matter. What is the true nature of divine power? And as you start getting familiar with the language of the tablet, its symbols and metaphors, a new level of awareness begins to awaken. You start to realize that the text isn't just explaining the universe, it's revealing something much deeper, the true nature of divine power, and that revelation changes everything. For a long time, we were taught that divine power is outside of us, in some far-off sky, in an invisible figure separate from us, in rituals that are hard to understand, in temples only the chosen ones can enter. But the Emerald Tablet says something completely different. It states, with a clarity disguised in mystery, that this power lives inside you. And more than that, it's working all the time, even if you don't realize it. First, it shows that this power is one. That means everything that exists comes from a single source. The sun, the planets, the elements of nature. the plants, the animals, humans, space itself. It's all a manifestation of the same creative intelligence. This force doesn't have a name, a shape, or a specific religion. It's the principle behind all forms. And you, as part of creation, carry that essence within you. Imagine the ocean. Now imagine a single drop from that ocean. The drop isn't the entire ocean, but it holds the same water, the same composition, the same origin. That's what the tablet is saying. Divine power is like the ocean. You are the drop. And inside you is everything you've been searching for out there. Then it shows that this power is vibrational. And this isn't just a nice idea, it's a reality that even science has started to confirm. Everything in the universe is vibrating. Even what seems solid, like a rock or your own body, is made of atoms in constant motion. Your thoughts vibrate. Your emotions vibrate. Your energy field, even if invisible to the naked eye, is constantly sending out a frequency. And here's the secret. That vibration is what shapes your reality. When the tablet says the subtle dominates the dense, this is what it's explaining. The invisible rules the visible. Energy comes before form. What happens on the inner plane, thoughts, emotions, intentions, has more influence on your life than any external condition. You could be in a tough environment, surrounded by problems, but if your internal vibration shifts, reality begins to respond. That's why people with the same life circumstances can experience totally different outcomes. Because the key isn't in what happens outside, it's in how you vibrate on the inside. And here comes the third revelation. This power is reflective. The universe is like a mirror. It doesn't judge. It doesn't choose for you. It reflects. It simply responds to what you emit. If you believe life is scarce, hard, unfair, that belief becomes a vibration. And life responds, bringing more situations to match that belief. But if you vibrate confidence, gratitude, presence, reality starts opening paths where before there were only blocks. The tablet makes this clear when it says, what is above is like what is below, and what is below is like what is above. The internal and the external are connected. Nothing is separate. The reality you live isn't random. It's the reflection of your inner state. And if all that wasn't revolutionary enough, the tablet says this power is internal. That might be the most uncomfortable part for people who are still waiting for someone else to fix their life, because it means no one has more power over your reality than you do. Not the government, not society, not astrology, not karma, not luck. Sure, all of that influences you, but you're the one who vibrates. You're the one who responds with awareness or with reactivity. And what the tablet is saying, between the lines, is that true freedom starts the moment you accept that the source of power isn't somewhere else. It's in your own field of consciousness. You might be going through a tough phase right now, full of doubts, blocks, patterns that seem stuck on repeat. But none of that is punishment. It's just a reflection of your current vibration. And if vibration can change, and it can, then your reality can change too. The tablet doesn't spell this out in plain words, but it shows it through its structure. By revealing the oneness, the vibration, and the mirroring nature of the universe, it's pointing to one thing. The change in the world begins when you change from within. And finally, here comes the most practical part. This power is operational. That means you don't need to be some enlightened master or a monk hiding in the mountains to access it. You just need to learn how to work with your own energy. Learn to observe your thoughts, to choose your feelings more consciously, to use your breath to recenter yourself, to create moments of silence instead of reacting automatically. Small daily actions already start to move this power inside you. You've probably felt it before, when you did something with so much presence and truth that everything just seemed to flow, when you felt a strong intuition and followed it, and then everything lined up, when you stopped fighting and suddenly the path opened up. Those moments are little proofs that the power is already active, even when you're not aware of it. The tablet is simply inviting you to use that power consciously, consistently, and with awareness. How does this divine power show up in you? And when you start to understand that divine power is inside you, that it's not just a theory, but a real, living presence vibrating in every cell of your body, the next question becomes inevitable. How does this power show up in me, in my daily life? How do I notice it in action? That's one of the most important questions on the whole journey, because as long as the knowledge stays only in your mind, it doesn't transform anything. It just informs. But when you feel it in your body, when you notice it in silence, when you live that power, that's when it becomes real. Thoth, the master behind Hermetic teachings, answers this with surprising clarity, even while using symbols and metaphors. In one of the texts from the Corpus Hermeticum, he says, "Don't you know you were born a god and child of the One?" He's not saying you're a god in an egoic, arrogant way. He's saying you are a direct expression of the creative consciousness, that you carry within you the same force that moves the stars, builds galaxies, turns energy into matter and matter into light. The manifestation of this power begins when you understand one simple thing: you are consciousness. That means you are not your body, even though the body is sacred. You are not your thoughts, even though they're part of your experience. You are not your emotions, even though they hold precious messages. You are the awareness that notices all of it. You are the inner space where everything happens. That space is the divine presence in its purest form, and it shows up in many ways. First, it's the life force that keeps you alive, the energy that pulses in your chest, that makes your heart beat even while you sleep. It's the inner breath, the thing that, without effort, lets you inhale and exhale. You might be distracted, tired, sad, lost, but that force never leaves you. It's what many traditions call prana, chi, ruach, pneuma, different names for the same living energy present in all beings, an energy you can't buy, can't earn, you can only recognize it. Second, this divine energy is your ability to observe, to feel, and to create reality. This is maybe the most practical and direct way to notice divine power at work in you. When you choose a thought, when you feel something deeply, when you imagine a future scene, you are shaping vibrations. And those vibrations don't just stay in your mind. They flow out of you and interact with the energetic field of the world. You influence without speaking. You attract without trying. You shape your reality through the vibration you're holding inside. You know those days when you wake up with a light heart and everything just seems to flow? People smile at you on the street, things work out easily, new ideas come out of nowhere. That's not luck. That's alignment. That's you vibrating in harmony with the field of life. Now think about the opposite. Days when you wake up tense, irritated, and everything seems to go wrong. Traffic sucks, your body feels heavy, people react badly. That's not bad luck either. That's density. That's the reflection of your current vibration. Divine energy shows up exactly there, in how you're vibrating right now. It doesn't matter what you say you believe. The universe responds to what you truly feel. And that's why Thoth said you are the point of union between what is above and what is below. You're the living link between heaven and earth. Your body is made of earth, of matter. But your consciousness is made of sky, of light, of essence. When you're aligned on the inside, you become a channel through which that energy can flow clearly, powerfully, and fully present. You become an instrument of creation, living a life with meaning, direction, and soul. But for that to happen, you need to refine your inner field. Refine your thoughts. That doesn't mean pretending to be positive all the time. It means choosing, with more awareness, what you want to believe. Instead of mentally repeating that you're not good enough, that nothing works, that everything's hard, start observing those thoughts like a silent witness. Don't fight them. Just see that they're not you. They're patterns you learned, and now you can change them. Refine your emotions. That doesn't mean suppressing what you feel. On the contrary, it means embracing it, feeling it fully. Letting it move through your body with awareness. Anger, sadness, fear, all of it carries information. When you embrace without judgment, those emotions transform. And when they transform, they release energy. Energy that was stuck can now be used to create. Refine your inner frequency. This is the core of it all. You've noticed how being around certain people calms you down. Others stir you up, drain you, throw you off. That's because every human being is a vibrational field. And when you take care of your energy, that field purifies. You start to give off a more coherent, more stable, lighter vibration. And everything around you begins to respond to that new quality of presence. And when that happens, your inner manifestations become visible. You start influencing your reality effortlessly. And before you go, there's something really important waiting for you. A special video was prepared as a continuation of this journey. In it, we're going to go even deeper into this secret teaching of the Emerald Tablet, and I'll show you how to apply it in your life in a real, practical way. So don't leave just yet. Click the video that's showing up on the screen, and I'll meet you there. See you on the other side.